Trump voters, when are you going to admit that you got played? Is this what you voted for? Now, I'm not talking about you cult members, you people who wear the stupid red hats and go to his rallies and buy all his cheap Chinese-made garbage. I'm talking about you normal people who voted for Donald Trump because the price of groceries was too high. Is this what you voted for? Donald Trump isn't doing anything about lowering your grocery prices. He's not talking about that at all anymore. In fact, the only time he's mentioned it is to say that, I really don't know if I'm going to be able to lower the price of groceries. That's really hard. Instead, what's he talking about? He's talking about changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico. He's talking about invading Panama over the canal. He's talking about going to war with one of our NATO allies, Denmark, to give us Greenland. He's talking about making Canada the 51st state. He's talking about all this nonsense to distract you from the fact that he's not going to do anything he promised he would do. You regret your vote yet?
A Trump supporter that lost her job directly because of Donald Trump's policies now says she regrets her vote, and she is going public telling anybody that will listen. Now, this is a federal worker that lost her job directly because of DOGE cuts. Take a listen to what she has to say now.
You voted for Donald Trump.
I did.
Do you regret that vote?
Yes, I do. To cut the knees out of the working class Americans just doesn't make sense to me. I expected more from President Donald Trump.
Yeah, she expected more. And what she really means there is, I didn't expect him to come after me. He was only supposed to go after other people. We were supposed to own the libs. We were supposed to go after the people that didn't like Trump, not your supporters. And now she is in the find out phase, that she too is being affected. But the story actually gets much worse for her, unfortunately, as since coming out and going public with this, her house has been vandalized. She has been receiving different kind of threats. It's really turned her world upside down, from not only losing her job and getting in the find out phase, but now losing her friends because she's going against Trump.
We voted for Trump because he promised while he was campaigning like a million times that when he got into office, he was going to bring down prices, bring down grocery prices. The inflation has been high ever since COVID, and he promised he would bring that down. But it's obvious to me now that that was not true. Egg prices have skyrocketed. The bird flu is killing all the birds, and he doesn't seem to be doing anything about that. He's stopping disease communications from the disease centers in America, pulled us out of the WHO. Like, how does that help anything? And yeah, all he's been doing is taking away rights and freedoms, or trying to. He's not doing anything about the economy. So yeah, we totally regret our vote at this point. We've had a really tough time here in North Carolina. Half of my house got washed away in Hurricane Helene, and I applied for FEMA assistance and we got approved. But now Trump is canceling FEMA and emergency assistance to people. He's also canceled Medicaid for my children. I know they said they put a halt on his freezing of the funds, but the Medicaid portal is still not working, so we can't access anything for our children's health insurance.
MAGA, yeah, you. Here it comes. Your FAFO moment is underway.
The people want to go ahead and just re-elect. Trump is not my president.
Officially underway moment. It's going to be more than a moment for you. Here's the deal. Trump officially announced that his tariffs are going to be going into effect. And as a foreseeable consequence to that, the stock market tanked. All of the markets tanked. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is the first domino to topple. And you will FAFO. You may not believe it. You may not want to believe it. You may be in total denial about it, but you're going to be in a world of hurt. You guys, we have been warning you forever.
Okay, y'all, I never thought I'd say this, but here in Huntsville, Alabama, we are certainly regretting our votes for Trump now. Look, y'all, we just got this letter from the electric company that says because of a Trump executive order rolling back Biden-era legislation, that our electric bill is going to go up $100 a month because of what Trump did. Now, this man ran on bringing prices down for us, bringing grocery prices down, bringing energy costs down, housing, insurance, and none of that has happened at all. This is literally crazy. I mean, it's almost like the Democrats were telling the truth the whole time and the Republicans have just been lying nonstop. I know that's completely crazy to even say because Republicans have always been a beacon of truth. But, yeah, this letter has me so pissed off that I'm never going to vote Republican again. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we flip the House in April. That's what we need to do now, because Republicans have just been lying to us to get our votes. Isn't that crazy?
I regret my vote for Donald Trump.
I have seen a lot of videos like this, and while it's great and it's fabulous to hear that people regret voting for Donald Trump, everyone that I know that voted for Donald Trump were voting for him for all the things that he's actually doing right now. That's what they wanted. And while these videos are talking about, I regret my vote, and they're crying and they're sad and they seem like they really feel some kind of way about voting for him, the things that they're mentioning that they're upset about, like why they voted for him and, you know, these things, whatever they're crying about, still has to do with them. She is saying that she's crying and saying that she regrets voting for him, which I'm gonna level with you guys. I'm an empath to a fault. I feel bad even for like the bad guys in the movies when something happens. Like, I tend to still see a spark of goodness in people. At least I try to, you know? And so some of these people, some of these farmers that voted red, some of these people's small businesses that are collapsing and, you know, they're having a hard time, like, there is still a part of me that feels bad for them. But they do not feel bad for all the bad things that this man has been doing, you know, executive orders, all these things he's been canceling and cutting funding for, and all these things that help lower income people, people of color, immigrants. They aren't upset that he's doing those things, and that's why they're crying on these videos saying they regret voting for him. No. They are upset they voted for him because he is only helping his billionaire friends, and their small businesses are sinking. They are having to pay more for groceries. They're having to pay more for gas. Their hours at work are getting cut, whatever, because the economy sucks. He is destroying everything. Everything is on fire. But you guys voted for this. You did this. And it's really hard for me to not only empathize with someone that voted for him, knowing the kind of person that he is. He made it fully, you guys knew what kind of person he was. And you aren't sad because he's hurting other people. Still, you are still worried about yourself. You are only worried about something when it affects you. You don't care if it's affecting the LGBTQ community. You don't care if it's affecting people of color or lower income communities or immigrants or anything. You only care when it affects you. And you cannot even start to put yourself in someone else's shoes and try to empathize with them or anything. You guys are only worried about yourselves. And this video is a prime example of that. She is not sad for anything bad that has happened to anybody else, and that's why she regrets her vote. She regrets her vote because she thought she was getting something good by voting for a schmacist, schmomophobic, terrible human being. And now she's like, I don't know, somehow surprised. I don't know, especially at this point. I don't know how you're surprised at this point. Like, we are way into the game. But it is hard for me to see someone that has a family, you know, that they're not doing well financially and they're crying. That is hard for someone like me. But I realized when I watched this video, I was more pissed than I was feeling like empathy for her. And that is something very new for me.
Why, oh why do poor white people vote against themselves time and time again? They vote for Trump and the other MAGA politicians only to have every promise broken, prices go up, social supports evaporate. Here's why. First, remember what I talked about recently, the psychological wage of whiteness. That term was coined by W.E. Du Bois to describe poor white folks being paid with social status rather than decent living conditions. They're convinced by the elites that they're better than black folks better than immigrants, Latinos, LGBTQ folks. They're convinced that being white puts them in the same league as the elites. Of course, the elites know otherwise, but the poor whites buy it because they're grasping at straws. Second, they are convinced that the people they're supposedly better than are the big threat in their lives. Not the rich, not the corporations or the politicians, but immigrants, black folks, welfare queens, LGBTQ, criminals, you know, the usual scapegoats. Third, the elites promise protection to poor white folks. A politician comes along and says, I'll keep those people in their place, or I'll kick them out, or I'll lock them up. Or, more politely, I'll defend your values. They don't say, I'll make your life better. Well, they say it, they just don't mean it. They'll say, I'll make sure they don't get ahead of you. Fourth, they vote for the punishment, not the policy. When a law gets passed that slashes public housing or school funding or food aid, they think, good, that'll stop those lazy freeloaders. And they do some mental gymnastics that make them believe it's worth losing those things for their own families in order to see those problematic black people and immigrants and so forth being punished. It gets to a point where just seeing those guys being punished is reward enough, which is pretty sick, but that's how behavior works. Their housing, schools, and groceries are on the chopping block too, but they blame that on Biden. Always a scapegoat. They get hit by the same policies they were told would punish the others, and they blame the wrong people. The system fails them, but they've been trained to blame the scapegoats, not the cause, which is the rich people, the people they voted for. So they think the problem is still those people, not the fact that they were personally manipulated by the people they voted for. They're basically saying, I'll take the hit as long as you don't help them, or worse, as long as you hurt them. That is the psychological wage Du Bois was talking about, the trade-off between material security for racial status. And that's a crying shame, folks. One share, like, save, and comment shows that you care about white people taking responsibility for racism in America. This work is important to me, and I want to keep doing it. If you want to support me, consider a donation of any size to coffee.com/Kelly Snyder. And yeah, spelling is important. Get curious.